All right, Sage, let's take a look at your paper MLA format first. This is good. This is good. Since this is the very first thing that you talk about, I think it needs to be more specific in relation to Macbeth. So think about your kind of your theme that you want to talk about with Macbeth and make that part of your creative title, because I don't think this works. I like that you bring this up. You do a good job of citing sources. Remember, when you have a period here, you just need a period at the end. So, sorry, you don't need a period here when you're doing in-text citation. You just need one at the end. So that means this period has to go too, and this one has to move down to the end. You talk about people that have had it. You bring it into William Shakespeare's play Macbeth. You don't need a comma there. Again, move the period down here. Get rid of this one. And then you move on to talk a little bit about the play and Macbeth. And I really like how you set it up. What's not clear, which I mean I get, is I want you to be more specific, I guess, that these are the things that he's struggling with. He has unwanted thoughts of aggression. Make it clear that Macbeth had these symptoms leading to his downfall, which was this, this, and this. I mean, I can tell that they are that, but I'd love to have it set up a little bit better. This is your thesis statement, which is weak. I don't want to just know that it causes downfall, because that's all you're going to be able to say in your body paragraphs is, oh, he had the symptoms and it causes his downfall. Oh, he had the symptom and it causes downfall. So I want more than just that. So work on that. Work on that thesis statement. All right, we want to have a better topic sentence here. This is kind of a weak topic sentence. So work on that better topic sentence. You have an outside source, which is good. Again, work on punctuation here. So you talk about his witness in one of his famous soliloquies. You give that line. I like this analysis of it. He's clearly at conflict with what he should do. He should be not harming him, but protecting him. So I really like that idea. I think it works well. But then you get into, you don't do enough now to keep talking about the symptom and keep talking about how it relates to him. And I wanted you to go on just one or two more sentences, because this is essentially your transition statement, which he chastises and embarrasses him for being cowardly. But I want you to be specific. And again, on a really simple term, you would say he struggles with the thought of killing Duncan, the unwanted thoughts. So, after he struggles with these unwanted thoughts, he also struggles with the feeling of guilt and remorse, something like that. You need a really stronger transition statement into the next paragraph. All right, so you bring up Lady Macbeth and how she's responsible for this, and I think you're spending way too much time talking about her. So I think you can streamline this into a sentence, maybe two, because you already pretty much said it right here, what you're getting at. She calls him cowardly, which changes his mind, because your main point in here is this one is about losing self-control, which is interesting because in your body paragraphs, introduction paragraph, you say basically loss of control, unwanted thoughts of aggression is the first, then loss of control is the second. But in it, you're also talking about guilt and paranoia. So there's a lot of things that you're trying to shove into here that you need to be careful with, because the loss of self-control is important. And I think, I'm not sure if you really need to talk a lot about Lady Macbeth with the loss of self-control. When you can't control your actions anymore, it's almost like you do things, out of habit or out of whatever, and that's almost the killing that's taking place after this. So anyways, I'm not sure how that's going to work. You do have some run-on sentences here. This is a huge run-on sentence. You need to break that up a little bit. In order to protect himself from being caught, the guards as well. So he kills Duncan and the guards during all of this. But how is this loss of self-control? I think you need to explain this a little bit better. And then you bring up guilt and paranoia, but look at how brief it is when he orders the perfect murder of his brother Bangle along with his son just because he's next in line for the throne. So now you're going to talk about this perfect murder. So this is a good transition statement. I like it. But you're not doing enough to talk about this loss of self-control. I think you need way more information in here to make me believe you know what's going on. All right, so I don't necessarily like these first two sentences back to back. Macbeth's need for things to be in order is probably the most obvious symptom. It's also most known or prominent symptom. So why don't you just say it's one of the most prominent symptoms. So, I think you can kind of streamline this into one sentence. Then you go into Howard Hughes. I think it's a really interesting example. Again, be careful with punctuation. that you have the periods in the right spot. The other thing that I forgot to mention earlier, when you have a quote that goes on to the fourth line, you need to separate it out. So what you'll do is you'll hit space, or you'll hit enter and bring it down to the next line, and then tab it over twice, and all of that quote will be there. So just keep that in mind. It's interesting that you bring up the idea of eating peas, and this shows similarities to Hughes. It has nothing to do with eating peas. So the idea that he wants everything to be perfect, maybe you should make that a little bit, separate in a perfect way. I guess you try to bring that up there, but it's just an interesting. We go from peas to killing in here. So sun must be perfect, and then I would just use this short, perfect spy all the time. He'll tell him the perfect spy all the time. His murder must be perfect. So I just use those quotes like singular instead of this big long quote. He has a third murder show up just to make sure things go smoothly, and of course it doesn't. And then you get to here, but you've done nothing to tie it into the thesis. Okay, so you need to go back in and tie this into the thesis at the end, because all you're saying is that because he doesn't do this, it pushes him further into insanity. All right, so your conclusion should start with a restatement of the thesis statement, which this is not. It's actually a very clunky sentence. The one's good man, the one's noble man, the one's kind of, you're just kind of repeating the same thing over and over again. So after this, you need to go over all of your main points, all of your symptoms. So you talk about loss of control, no comma here, no comma here. Remember, it's only comma conjunction with both sides have complete sentences. And look how long the sentence is too. You can have longer sentences. That's not a problem, but could you break that up a little bit more? So anyway, so you go through all the main points, which is fine. And I kind of like that you went back to the beginning. I think that's good. Period will go on the inside of that quote. So it's not a bad clincher overall. At the end, make sure this is in alphabetical order. So this needs to move up overall. So you cited this and this. Make sure you have more of this citation in your paper. I think that'd be good. And what I don't see, are you noticing I'm missing something in here? And that's the book. He didn't cite the book at all, so that's obviously needs to be cited in here. Is that a citation you used in the paper? If not, fix that. Okay. All right. So you got a little bit of work to do, mostly tying the thesis in here, but it's a good start to a paper.